Kitty, thanks you for clicking on this video. What has your pet accidentally conditioned you to do? My wife just got out of the cat's chair on our front porch after he strolled up and meowed. Crazy thing is, it's not our cat. Shuffle my feet instead of walking when it's dark so I don't step on my small black cat. Lol, when I turn the lights off my cat instantly starts running from me because of this. I guess you conditioned the cat and not the other way around. And they should comment on the other post. I read a tweet or something that said cats can see just as well with the light off as with them on, so they must think the light switch is a make the humans clumsy idiots switch. When I come home, my dog comes to the door all excited, wagging her tail, making this woo woo wow sound. It's not quite howling, but it's not barking either. I started to woo wow wow back to her because it amused me. But now if I don't, the sound she makes will turn into barking, which is very noisy and unpleasant. So basically she's trained me to have this dumb woo 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 conversation with her in order to keep her from yelling at me. My boy would do this too. He was a Pomeranian. That was his sweet loving playful bark. Him and my dad would have a woo 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 conversation back and forth for like 5 minutes straight before one of them got tired. I opened the tinfoil as quietly as possible. My cat loves tinfoil balls, and whenever he hears it he runs over and looks at it longingly, despite him having at least 24 tinfoil balls already. You can't call him with a treat bag or tin, he only comes for the foil. I have a cat that plays fetch very insistently. She brings me her toy mouse, and if I don't throw it for her, she sits on my laptop keyboard. Of course this all started when I would throw the mouse to keep her from sitting on my laptop. My cat does that too. He broke the feather part off his string toy and he'll drop it on my face while I sleep if he wants to play a lol. This wasn't accidental. I have a kitten about 5 months old. Every morning I wake up and feeding him is one of the first things I do. In the first couple months, in his little brain, he learned that me waking up equals food. About a month ago, he started waking me up, looking to expedite the process. Jumping on me, meowing loudly, running across the bed. Whatever gets me out of bed. I usually wake up around 6 AM for work. I guess that was too late for breakfast, as over the course of about a week this kitten would wake me up about 15 to 20 minutes earlier every day. This started on a Sunday, and it wasn't until Friday that I was woken up and realized it was 4:30 AM. It was then that I realized I've been outsmarted by a kitten, and I was being conditioned to feed him in the middle of the night. Now if he wakes me up early, he gets locked out of the room until I'm ready to get out of bed. He doesn't wake me up anymore. Everything her little heart desires. BC, I'm an idiot sucker, and she knows it. You are their whole life, so might as well give them the most happiness you can. It's incredibly bittersweet to think I'm my pet's whole life. I'm flattered, but damn, there are more interesting things out there. Run towards the door when they start dry heaving. The sound of a pet or baby about to vomit needs to be an alarm. Instant wake up. I have a long-haired cat who sleeps on the bed and always chucks up a hairball in the wee hours of the morning. I have gotten to the point that when she starts to heave I instantly awake, put my hands under her mouth, and catch the fur ball and vomit, drop the lot in the toilet, flush, wash my hands, and go straight back to sleep. Better than having to change the bed linen. Wow, you're hardcore. One of my dogs has several barks, a play bark and a squirrel bark and other dog things that are normal dog barks. He also had what we call his emergency bark. The emergency bark is what he does when he thinks there is serious danger. It is extremely loud and makes us jump every time. He usually reserves it for things like the time I fell down the stairs and he scream barked for my husband to help, or when someone is in our front yard, or when he cornered a possum in the backyard. However, since my husband started working from home, this dog barks his emergency bark at my husband if he tries working past 4 PM. My husband now has learned to stop working at about 3:50 every day to avoid that jarring sound. Work-life balance, dad. Sleep on my back or front. I used to be a side sleeper, but have an elderly cat who loves her human bed. One of my tabby babbas likes to know when I'm rolling over in bed, so she can readjust herself. So no, in the middle of the night I'll quietly say rolling over Koosie baby. She loves her human bed, no matter how I sleep. I'm a side sleeper. When I switch sides, my kitty walks around my head to the other side, so we are facing each other. I've shared this before, but I got my dog Snoopy when I was 10 years and ever since he was a puppy he had this weird love for lettuce. He would go absolutely nuts for it, so whenever I had a sandwich or a burger I would give him some of my lettuce. Over the years it became a ritual that, whenever I prepared any food for myself that involved lettuce, I would grab some extra lettuce for him, so I could toss it to him as I ate. He passed away 5 years ago after nearly 17 years together, but I still find myself grabbing that bit of extra lettuce for him. It's kind of funny that his little quirk has still stuck with me for all these years and I honestly never wanted to go it away, because it's a little way for me to remember him. Sleep with my legs a cat length apart. She likes to sleep in between them. Same here. I've noticed I'm much more awake/aware when I shift positions now too, so I'm sure not to kick or squish her. 2 things. My dog Rusty always puts his front paws on me, and I always hugged him, so now, when he's anxious he'll give me a hug, and I'll hug him back. The other one is, when I get ice he always begs for one, so now without thinking I always toss him an ice cube. Oh, I used to do this too. I'd reach in and get the ice for my drink and just throw one over my shoulder without looking, because I knew my dog was gonna catch it. I lost her earlier this year and had to drop the habit after throwing ice on my kitchen floor several times. Before I run in the morning I usually scarf down a banana. Ever since we got my sweet dog, I scarf down about 2/3 of my banana and he gets the last part. It's become a little thing, an unspoken agreement. The banana tax. It happens at my house too. Calm down when I start to lose my temper or get frustrated. Whenever he hears me sigh or swear, he runs to me, rests his chin on my arm or leg and looks up at me with concern. This has made me so aware of how my energy can impact those around me, and I have really gotten my anger under control since he started doing this. He's one of the goodest boys and I'm grateful for him every day. My girlfriend's older cat makes me pick her up to drink running tap water from her bathroom sink. I also gotta pick her up to get on the dryer to eat, even though she can easily make the jump. My cat often does this. His food is in his cat tree, so the dog can't get to it, and sometimes he'll stare at me and the tree and meow loudly till I lift him. Other times he just jumps up and eats. When I get up to go to the bathroom I stand in the door and wait for my elderly cat to come in before I close the door. He likes to keep me company. If he doesn't come in right away I'll call for him, and if still nothing I'll start walking around the house looking for him. My kitten has taught me this new trick. If I'm using the toilet or having a shower, I have to call her in. With my Finn and Kay, she runs from any part of the house to watch him pee. She's quickly received the nickname toilet attendant. My cat sleeps under the blanket snuggled up to me. Even when I'm at a hotel I instinctively raise the blanket a bit so he can crawl in. Weaving his name into any song I can for no reason whatsoever. I was riding around with my dog the other day and Motley Crue's Girls came on the radio, but he likes it better if I sing it as squirrels. Change the water in her bowl. It can be all the way to the top and she'll stand there staring at it until I take the bowl, dump it, and refill it with fresh water. My dog is a water connoisseur now. He will leave full bowls into shade and look at me for cold water from the water filter with a nice whiskey ball in it. It started with bottled water when we lived in an area where the city water wasn't great. Then he became a bottled water snob. He likes Evian. Won't touch Volvic. City water is better where we are now, so we refill the Evian bottles with cold tap water. He's fine so long as he sees the bottle. I got way more stories with this dog. My husky does this sneezing thing when she's anxious, and I imitate her every time she does it. Usually causes follow-up sneezes. I also know right when she's about to groan, when she's anxious/annoyed, and if I make the noise before she does she won't do it. I had fish on top of this cabinet, not sure if that's the right word, so I would always be really careful when closing it so it doesn't disturb them. I haven't had fish or any other pet in 5 years, but I still do it. My mother's dog tells her when it's time for her evening meal, as in my mother's evening meal. The dog knows she eats after my mother, so when she starts to get peckish she goes and bugs her to start cooking. When I go back to visit, we'll be sitting chatting, and the dog will sidle in and become a presence in the room for maybe 30 seconds until my mother casually looks at her watch and says, I suppose we better think about eating. She's completely unaware of what triggers her decision. A presence in the room, I love it, haha. I know exactly what you mean too. Dogs have a way of sort of just conspicuously hanging around to get some attention. Loitering, if you will. With intent, no less.